What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I got an old clip mic hooked onto me right there. And I decided I'm also going to not just do this video for my gaming channel on YouTube, but I'm also going to do it here for TikTok. You know, I switch up the content for a little bit for today. And what I want to talk about is Dragon Ball What If game. I've been playing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero lately, and I like it. I was hoping for the actual little what if thing, but I'm starting to realize that that's not really the case with the game. Like, it shows you can choose something, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. So a lot of the things that we see are really mods on PC. There's only one real Sparking Zero episode in the game, and that's with Piccolo, which is like really cool. And it has something to do with him sacrificing himself instead of Goku during the Cell games, is what it has to do with that. So, you know, that seems to be the only real major what if difference in the game. And I'm not too certain what they're gonna do with the Goku mini character on there, because I guess a lot of people ask the question, how do you unlock it? You only go to one level in the game, which is power level 20. And I think you might be able to go a little bit more, but you do have to buy the DLC pack for Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, for the superhero DLC pack. And where I'm going with this, they have some customization options. Some. I wish they would bring the customization options back from Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which was really good back in the day, and even some of the customization options from Raging Blast 2, because there's a lot that could really work there. And I like that, you know, you're able in Raging Blast 2 to get some different pieces of clothing, you know, for certain characters. Some of my favorite looks, I'm actually glad we actually were able to get in game after so many years. And one of my top favorite looks, specifically when it comes to Goku and Gohan, is when they're in the Saiyan training armor. But with the whole idea of what the game was supposed to be really about, was supposed to be kind of like a what if scenario, but it's not. But I got to thinking of a game, you know, a what if Dragon Ball game, and how would it play, you know, with the mechanics and ingenuity and the graphics, right? And I figured, what is one of the best, I don't want to say what if, but one of the best games when it comes to the actual choices you make and it actually matters. And there's so many different flow of timeline streams depending on how you go. And that is Detroit Becoming Human. So for me, I think the mechanics and the ingenuity on how Detroit Becoming Human works, I think would actually work good for a Dragon Ball game when it comes to a what if. Because no matter, because, you know, the what if franchise right now, It's a very popular thing. There's two What If franchises out there that is the most popular. One of them is Star Wars, and the other one is Dragon Ball. We know Disney has been getting into the What If thing lately with Marvel. We know Star Wars is going to be doing that. So, because Sparking Zero is a little bit open world, but not much, and you have Detroit Becoming Human, that is almost, not quite, but almost a good portion of open world being able to, semi-explore. So I figured, okay, let's take some of the locations throughout Dragon Ball all the way to Dragon Ball GT. In other words, you're covering Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Super, Daima, and GT in that order. You want to make it a good semi-open world, right? The graphics, right, for it, I figured would be definitely in between Detroit Becoming Human and Sparking, because those are really good graphics. I love the colors in them and how they look, so I can see that. I would definitely have a good balanced mixture of the ingenuity from Sparking Zero and Detroit Becoming Human on how it works, how it feels, the controls with that game into this Dragon Ball What If game. I feel like throughout, as you progress, to definitely, I would say, give us the options to customize our characters. Being able to change clothing, because the characters have a lot of good classic looks in the show. Especially the filler in between stuff. And we don't get a lot of that. Because in Sparking Zero, I like that they gave us some older filler or movie characters that we haven't seen in a long time in game, like Dr. Wheelo, Garlic Jr., Lord Slug, giving us the baby character. And without this Dragon Ball What If game, that's one thing I would like to see add in, right? Is a lot of the in-between and filler stuff, and also the movies, and try to tie in those events into this What If, depending on how you play it. And it could go either which way. Like, for example, right? Let's say, okay, we start off with Bardock, right? We start off with Bardock because it makes sense for us to start off as Bardock. And we play as Bardock. So now we have the option. When it comes down to it, to either flee Planet Vegeta with Goku and Gine, I think is Goku's mother's name, or face Frieza and have Gine leave with Goku to Earth, right? Or have Bardock just leave with Goku and Gine stays behind, right? Or you can have it to where you just send Goku, but you don't confront Frieza, right? And depending on what you choose, it affects how you play as Goku when you bring for his upbringing in his earlier years, right? Like it really makes that much of a difference. Or, as you play throughout the game, like one of the what ifs that a lot of people seem to like, what if Raditz was good? And there's so many stories with that it works. You could definitely do something like that and have it to where it really changes a lot of the story, no matter which way that you choose to play throughout the game and how you progress throughout it. Because again, we want these choices to matter. Man, like there's so much potential there for a good Dragon Ball What If game. And I think people would definitely like it. That's why I pick to have it work the same way as Detroit Becoming Human. So I could see a Dragon Ball What If game really playing like that. But no matter how you do, it does have real consequences and effects. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that. Now, I think for another what if or an example, let's, once you get to the Future Trunks arc, you have several different ways that can go. Now, a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean? You can have it to where there is no future Trunks being born. And there's just the kid Trunks who we know. But let's say if you do have future Trunks being born, you got two options right there, where is he half human, half Saiyan, or is he full human and no Saiyan? In other words, you can choose to either have Bulma still be with Yamcha, or you can definitely have Vegeta and Bulma get together, or you can have Goku and Bulma become a thing, right? So you do have your options there on how something like that could work or play out. Now, let's say you do choose to have Trunks become born. Regardless if you have Goku being with Bulma, Yamcha being with Bulma, or Vegeta being with Bulma, Trunks will still be born depending on those three options. Now, one of the things a lot of people bring up during the Future Trunks arcs, why didn't Bulma, Trunks, and Gohan go to planet Namek to use the Dragon Balls to wish back certain people, which would work to bring back the Earth Dragon Balls to use those? And because the Z Fighters would be strong enough by now, because of otherworld training, to definitely be able to beat the androids. So let's say they put that there as an option in the game. You choose to go to planet Namek during the android arc, use our Dragon Balls, wish back Goku, wish back Piccolo, wish back Vegeta. They go back to Earth. The Earth Dragon Balls are remade like that. You're using the Dragon Balls now to bring back everyone who has been killed by the androids. So now you have the rest of the Z fighters coming back to life. They make their way back to Earth, to the land of the living. They're waiting on the lookout. Bulma, Trunks, and Gohan now go back to Earth. Now, granted, they said the androids destroyed the lookout, right? I don't believe that part to really be partially true. I don't think they went fully up there. We know that they destroyed, I can't think of the name of that cat, but we know they destroyed that part of the tower with the lookout at the bottom. But, I can still see Kami's lookout being intact, not to mention Kami's lookout moves. We learned that through Dragon Ball Super. So you can see Mr. Popo moving Kami's lookout. Do I think Mr. Popo's still alive in Trunks' timeline? Absolutely, because we know he's not a fighter. That's not his thing at all. So I can see Mr. Popo still being alive, but he moved the lookout or what have you. Now, how does that affect going into the present timeline? That is a good question, because again, you would really have to sit down with some good writers, people who really know the franchise, who can really bring these good ideas but have them to where they can make sense and work for this Dragon Ball What If game. And it could go any which way, Like, for example, another example, you can either have Vegeta stay on Earth and he's trying to figure out what's going on with everybody who gets turned evil by Garlic Jr., right? And let's say the options, like, he can get possessed by it or not, and he chooses to help out our heroes that are there, Piccolo, Krillin, and Gohan against Garlic Jr. So I can see something like that. Another what if example, when you get to the Battle of Gods arc, right? Let's say rather than Goku becoming the Super Saiyan God, he wishes Yamoshi back, the original Super Saiyan God, to fight Beerus, and Yamoshi's able to get the Super Saiyan God power because of the Saiyans that are there. Something like that, right? So I can definitely see something like that definitely happening right there. Definitely happening. Now let's say the Resurrection of F arc, right? Let's say the Resurrection of F arc doesn't happen. Something else takes place. Let's say the Return of Cell. So you name it Resurrection C, right? That could be a thing. That could be a thing. Right there. So you have an endless possibility of ideas when it comes to a Dragon Ball What If game, and I think it would work. I do think we are getting close to getting a Dragon Ball What If game in the future. I strongly do. I think we're getting close, because now if you take a look at the last two games that really kind of point that into the direction, it would be Dragon Ball FighterZ and now Sparking Zero. So I think we're definitely getting close to an actual Dragon Ball What If game. And I think we're overdue for one. I think that is something that needs to be. Some people may say, well, there's already a Dragon Ball What If game that changes. And you could be right, and a lot of people who may not know what that game is, it's Xenoverse, right? In a sense. So if you really take a look, you know, you have Xenoverse 1 and 2, Dragon Ball Fighters, and now Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, then, you know, we are definitely moving in the direction of a Dragon Ball What If game. I think another example, and this is a game that's overlooked, a game I forgot about, a game that I didn't even know got released, and a lot of people don't talk about it, and that's Dragon Ball Breakers, where you're in a what if world, you know, because you have to play as the humans against a lot of the supervillains that we know. So yes, you know, we have like 4, maybe 6 games that are pushing us into that direction of a Dragon Ball What If game. And I wouldn't be surprised sometime within this year or within the next 2 years, we get an announcement and a teaser image of Toei and Kurosha working on a Dragon Ball What If game. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, because something's telling me that's probably happening behind closed doors. And I think when it does happen, that game is going to definitely sell. And I would be surprised if it didn't get Game of the Year. I would be surprised. You know, because there's so much stuff that you could really put into this Dragon Ball What If game. One of the scenes that I would like to see in a Dragon Ball game that we only got in Dragon Ball Z back in the day was the nightmare Goku had when he was in his coma from his heart attack. They say it was a heart virus, but let's call for what it was. Bro had a heart attack. He should be thankful that it wasn't a stroke, because that shit ain't nothing to play with. But within the nightmare, Goku is this ghost, this spirit, and the androids are at his house. So Chi-Chi gets killed, Krillin gets killed, Gohan gets killed, and Trunks gets killed because they take future Trunks' sword and stab him right through his stomach and the gut. And it shows it along with the blood dripping onto the sword and stuff. And they kill Goku right there. And he just screams, and he kind of wakes up from it, and he goes right back to sleep. You know, I really want to see that scene in a Dragon Ball game, especially in the What If one. You know, you guys got to give us some of these dreams that we saw in the show into the game in some way, shape, or form, because it's something that's missing. And like I said, there's some good filler stuff in the Dragon Ball franchise that we do deserve to get in the game. So yes, you know, I would say, you know, please, you know, give us a Dragon Ball What If game. I really do have a feeling that it's in the making. And like I said, maybe we might hear something this year. Maybe within the next 2 or 3 years, we could definitely get a teaser and an announcement like that. And I could see that game selling. And I would be surprised if it didn't get Game of the Year. But I would want that game to really be well written, well thought out, well done all around, to where it gets an applause, an award, even a Grammy or an Oscar, because we haven't had a game since Batman Arkham City win a Grammy and an Oscar award. That's how long it's been. I'm surprised the Spider-Man games, those 3 haven't even won an award. But yet we're getting bullshit games like God of War retrieving rewards, and bullshit like Halo Yeah, I know a lot of people stumble on this part of the video is going to be pissed. I said what I said and I meant it. To me, those game franchises that I mentioned that are bullshit, they are. They really are. You know, you would think the GTA games would get an award, but they don't, unfortunately. Especially San Andreas, which is still the best all-time selling GTA game. Some of the best performances in that game, and it did not get not one reward. It deserves it. It deserves it. I miss when games got nominated. Like the Telltale games, I think they were up there with the last games to really be nominated for like a reward of like a best performances and stuff, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think so. I'm not a huge gamer, but some of the games I got, I'm surprised half of them, not a good portion of them, didn't even get nominations for stuff like that, because games really used to. Like, I'm in my early mid-30s, like 34 years old. So I remember when games used to be nominated for things like an Oscar or a Grammy Award. Not just the video game awards, though, but for best performances and stuff like that, and even for the best soundtrack as well. But I think we're overdue. We're overdue for Dragon Ball What If game. It needs to happen. And I have a feeling we're getting close to it. I just hope that it's going to be well thought out. And I do feel like the mechanics and the way that it should flow, like Detroit Becoming Human, I feel like would work best with the mixture of Sparking Zero. It'd have those mechanical customized options from Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Raging Blast 2. But with that being said, you guys, hey, I'm out. Peace.